Welcome back, everyone. I'm Emma, and I'm here with Jake, as always. Today, we're talking about cooking and recipes, which is a very dangerous topic for me because I'm already getting hungry.
Same here. The second someone says the words fresh bread, my concentration disappears.
Before we get into recipes, I have to ask, are you naturally good at cooking, or did you learn the hard way?
Definitely the hard way. I can cook pretty well now, but in the beginning, I made some truly terrible meals.
That makes me feel better. What was one of your early disasters?
I once burned garlic bread so badly that it looked like a piece of wood. And the sad part was, it was supposed to be the easy part of dinner.
Honestly, that's relatable. I ruined rice so many times when I first started cooking. It was either too hard, too soft, or somehow both.
That's the thing people don't always say out loud. Everyone has kitchen fails. A fail just means something goes wrong, and in cooking, that happens a lot.
It really does. And recipes have changed so much, too. People used to keep handwritten recipes in notebooks, and now most of us just search online.
Yes, and now we don't just read recipes, we watch them. There are videos for everything, from chopping an onion to making fancy desserts.
I do like that. Sometimes seeing a technique makes it much clearer than just reading the instructions.
Absolutely. If a recipe says, fold the mixture gently, a video helps you understand what gently actually looks like.
But the internet can also be overwhelming. You search for one pasta recipe, and suddenly you have 400 versions in front of you.
Exactly. Too many choices can slow you down. You want dinner, not a full research project.
So let me ask a bigger question. Why do you think people enjoy cooking so much?
For me, it's part creativity and part practicality. It's creative because you make something with your hands, and practical because you have to eat anyway.
I like that answer. Cooking can also feel a bit intimidating, though, especially for beginners.
It can, but I think a recipe should feel like a roadmap, not a test.
A roadmap is a nice way to put it. You mean it gives you direction, but it doesn't have to control every tiny step.
Exactly. And once you know the basics, you can take little detours. A detour is a small change from the planned route.
So, are you someone who follows a recipe exactly, or do you like to wing it?
It depends. With baking, I follow the recipe closely. With regular cooking, I wing it more. Wing it means do it without a strict plan.
I agree with that. Baking feels much more precise.
Yes, because baking is basically chemistry. If you change one thing too much, the whole result can change.
And precise just means careful and exact. One extra spoon of something can really matter in baking.
Right. A cake won't always forgive you, but a soup usually will.
That is very true. Cooking feels more forgiving because you can often adjust as you go.
Exactly. You can swap out ingredients, add more seasoning, or cook something a little longer and still save the meal.
Swap out is a useful phrase. It just means replace one thing with another.
And substitutions are what save dinner sometimes. If you don't have one ingredient, you don't always need to give up.
What's a substitution you use a lot?
If I don't have sour cream, I often use plain yogurt. And if I don't have fresh garlic, I'll use garlic powder, though not quite as much.
That kind of flexibility makes cooking less stressful. But recipes can still be confusing when they use vague measurements like a pinch or a handful.
Yes, those words are very approximate, meaning not exact. A pinch is a very small amount. A handful is whatever fits in your hand, and that can vary a lot from person to person.
Family recipes are often the worst for that. They say things like, add some flour until it looks right.
Oh, absolutely. My aunt gave me a recipe once, and one step literally said, cook it until it smells done. I mean, thanks, but also, what?
That sounds charming and unhelpful at the same time. Do you write recipes down more clearly now?
I do. If I make something and it works, I take notes right away so I can repeat it later.
That's smart. You end up building your own little cookbook over time.
Exactly. And those notes are often better than the original recipe because they include your real kitchen experience, not just the ideal version.
Let's talk about social media recipes, because they've become such a huge part of how people cook now.
They really have. Short videos make cooking look fast, fun, and easy, which is great for motivation.
It is, but sometimes those videos skip important details. They'll say, cook until perfect, and somehow you're supposed to know what that means.
Yes, and they often hide the messy parts. The sauce looks glossy, the kitchen looks spotless, and then you try it at home and wonder what went wrong.
I had that exact experience with a creamy pasta recipe online. In the video, it looked amazing, and in my kitchen, it turned into a thick, confused mess.
Confused pasta is a real category of food. We've all made it.
So, if someone is just starting to cook, what would you say is a good beginner recipe?
I think eggs are a great place to start. Scrambled eggs, fried eggs, or an omelet teach you about timing and heat.
Eggs are simple, but weirdly easy to mess up.
That's true, and that's why they're good practice. You learn quickly what low heat and high heat actually do.
What else would you recommend?
A simple pasta with tomato sauce. It's familiar, not too expensive, and there are lots of small skills you can practice while making it.
I also think one-pan meals are underrated.
Absolutely. Underrated means something is better or more useful than people give it credit for. One-pan meals are easier to cook and easier to clean up.
And fewer dishes after dinner is always a win.
Always. Washing 6 pans after cooking can make a good meal feel less joyful.
Soups are another nice option for beginners because they're usually forgiving.
Yes, and they're great for leftovers, too. You can often make a big pot and eat it for a couple of days.
Before anyone starts a new recipe, what's the first thing they should do?
Read the whole recipe before doing anything else.
That sounds obvious, but people skip it all the time.
They do, and then halfway through, they realize they needed softened butter, or the dough has to rest for an hour, or they're missing one key ingredient.
That kind of surprise can really throw you off, meaning disturb your plan.
Exactly. Reading ahead helps you avoid panic.
Do you prepare all your ingredients before you start cooking?
Usually, yes. That's often called mise en place, which basically means having everything measured and ready before you begin.
And even if people don't remember the phrase, the idea is useful. It makes cooking feel calmer.
It really does. You chop first, measure first, and then when the heat is on, you can focus on the cooking itself.
I wish I always did that, but sometimes I get lazy and start cooking before I'm ready.
Same here, and that is when chaos begins. Suddenly something is burning while you're still trying to open a can.
Let's talk about tools. What are the kitchen basics people really need?
Honestly, not much. A sharp knife, a cutting board, one good pan, one pot, and a few bowls will take you a long way.
And a sharp knife is actually safer than a dull one, which surprises some people.
Right, because a dull knife slips more easily. A sharp knife cuts cleanly, so you have more control.
Are fancy kitchen gadgets worth it?
Some are, but many are not. A blender can be useful. A rice cooker can be useful if you eat rice often. But a machine that only does one tiny job, I'm usually skeptical.
I once bought a gadget that was supposed to slice avocados perfectly.
Let me guess. It took up space, and a normal knife did the job better.
Exactly. It was one of those things that seemed brilliant in the store and ridiculous at home.
That happens a lot in kitchens. We buy shortcuts and then realize the shortcut has to be washed, stored, and remembered.
Spices can also feel overwhelming for beginners. There are so many of them.
True, but I think it's better to start small. Salt, black pepper, garlic powder, paprika, and maybe cumin can already do a lot.
What about fresh herbs versus dried herbs?
Fresh herbs usually taste brighter and lighter. Dried herbs are stronger, so you often need less. If a recipe says 1 tablespoon of fresh herbs, you might use only 1 teaspoon dried.
That kind of ratio is really helpful. A ratio is just the relationship between amounts.
Exactly. And once you know a few simple ratios, cooking starts to feel less mysterious.
I also think people are often too scared of salt.
I agree. Under-seasoning is a very common problem. The food isn't bad, it just tastes flat.
And seasoning doesn't only mean adding salt. It means building flavor.
Yes, and the best habit is to taste as you go. If you wait until the very end, it's harder to fix things.
Speaking of fixing things, can you always save a dish if something goes wrong?
Not always, but often. If something is too salty, you might dilute it by adding more liquid or more of the main ingredients.
I've also heard that a little lemon juice can help certain dishes.
Definitely. Acid, like lemon juice or vinegar, can brighten food. Brighten here means make the flavor feel fresher and more lively.
Leftovers are another part of cooking people should talk about more.
Yes, because leftovers can become new meals. Roast vegetables can go into pasta, leftover rice can become fried rice, and extra potatoes can go into a soup or frittata.
Cooking for one can be tricky, though. Recipes often make too much food.
That's when batch cooking helps. You cook a larger amount once, then save portions for later.
And batch cooking is great if you're busy during the week.
Exactly. Your future self opens the fridge and says, "Thank you."
What about budget cooking? A lot of people want recipes that are affordable, too.
Then pantry staples are your best friends. Rice, pasta, beans, lentils, canned tomatoes, eggs, and onions can turn into a lot of meals.
I love that, because inexpensive doesn't have to mean boring.
Not at all. Cheap ingredients can taste amazing if you season them well and cook them with care.
Do you enjoy trying recipes from different cultures?
Very much. I think it's one of the most exciting parts of cooking because you learn flavors, techniques, and even little cultural habits.
I agree. Food can teach language too. Recipes use very specific words like simmer, knead, or whisk.
Yes, and those words become easier to remember because you're doing the action while reading it.
There can be pressure, though, around making something authentic.
That's true, and I think it's good to be respectful. Learn where the dish comes from, understand the basics, and then if you need to adapt it for your kitchen, that's okay.
So, respectful adaptation is fine, but pretending you invented someone else's dish is another story.
Exactly. A little humility goes a long way.
What was your most recent kitchen fail?
I made a big pot of soup last month and forgot to add enough salt. It looked beautiful, smelled great, and tasted like warm water.
That's such a disappointing moment. And flat, in that context, means the flavor feels dull or lifeless.
Right. The good news is that problem is easy to fix. A few small adjustments and the soup came back to life.
Do you think kitchen failures stop people from learning?
Sometimes, yes, but they shouldn't. Repetition builds confidence, and confidence matters more than perfection.
I like that. If you make the same recipe 3 times, you usually understand it much better by the 3rd try.
Definitely. The first time, you're just surviving. The second time, you're noticing details. The third time, you're actually cooking.
What do you think about online recipe comments and ratings? Are they useful?
They can be, but I take them with a grain of salt.
That's a great idiom. If you take something with a grain of salt, you don't accept it completely.
because it may not be fully reliable.
Exactly. But comments can still help. They might warn you that the baking time is too short or that the dish needs more liquid than the recipe says.
Before we wrap up, give our listeners one simple tip if they want to become more confident cooks.
Pick one easy recipe you actually want to eat. Make it several times and don't rush. Familiarity is powerful.
That's excellent advice. My tip would be read the whole recipe first, prep what you can, and don't be afraid to make small mistakes because that's how real cooks learn.
Could not agree more. And now I think we've made everyone hungry, including ourselves.
I think we have too. Thanks for listening, everyone. We hope you picked up some useful English and maybe a little cooking confidence as well.
And if you have a favorite recipe or a funny kitchen disaster story, we'd love to hear it.
Take care, enjoy your next meal, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.